and welcome to this week's Photoshop Friday. My name is Sam, and in today's class we're going to be learning about how to make a back to school photo sign, a photoprop sign. I'm not too sure exactly what you would call it, but I just call it a back to school sign. Alright, and I know in America that a lot of my followers have got kids that are going back to school in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me to show you guys how you can make your own sign in Photoshop and how easy it is to make. If you're new to Photoshop, feel free to check out my free e-course that I have available on getting started with Photoshop, where I go through all of the different tools that you use and how to understand layers and how easy it really is to use Photoshop to make your digital products. So feel free to please download the resource guide that I have for you guys for this week's tutorial. It has the link to all of your clip arts and all of the fonts that I'll be using in today's tutorial. Now the Photoshop template that I will provide you will look something like this, where it's already got a chalkboard background. The size of our template is just a landscape US letter size. Alrighty, so let's get straight into our tutorial. First thing I'm going to do is import the clip art that I'm wanting to use. So I'm just going to go over to my folder. Okay, and I'm going to be using these pencils over here. So I'm definitely going to be having the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, don't forget there's purple too, and I'll take the pink one too. Alright, and then we've obviously got that apple. Let me just make sure I've still highlighted it. Where are you? There you are. Alright, so let's click and drag all of you into my Photoshop, which is here, and then I'm just going to let go of the mouse, and it's going to start bringing each of the clip art in, and all you need to do to place that clip art onto your canvas is by hitting enter, and it will slowly start bringing in every single one of them. Now don't worry about the size of them or where they are located, we'll sort that out in just a second. Alright, so now we have all of our clip art placed on our canvas, and if you have a look here in the Windows panel, you see that each clip art has its own layer. Alright, and there they all are there. Alright, so all I'm going to do is I am pretty much just going to take my apple, and I'm just going to switch my apple off. Actually, I'm just going to label that apple. Okay, but you can kind of see by looking at the little picture over there and what it is. All right, but I've actually just hidden it by unticking that little eyeball. Okay, and here are all my designs. Now, what I would suggest is, let's just get them all together. First thing I would suggest is highlighting them all and resizing them all together, so that you're not sitting there trying to figure out if the one crown is the same size as the other crown. Alright, so all I'm going to do is to click on my layer from here all the way up to there, so that I've highlighted all of my crowns. I'm then going to click on Control T for Tango. It's now got them all highlighted, and we're actually going to reduce the size. And to do that, all we need to do is hit the Shift key to keep the proportion of the clip art. And I'm just going to click and drag you down, all right, to about there. And let's just bring you in, say, yeah, yes, I'm happy with that. So let's just hit enter. Okay, I'm just going to rearrange these first. So let's just do this. All right, so actually let's just untick. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to use you first, and then I'll have my orange, which is next to it. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Don't forget there's purple too, and we'll place in that pink too. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is click. So obviously have them all highlighted, and I'm just going to drag these down here, and I'm just going to go about, say, there, but I'm wanting it slightly off the canvas to about there. Okay, I'm now just going to duplicate that, So now that I've duplicated the layer, it's going to have the same ones underneath this. All I'm going to do is hit click. I'm going to hit the shift key and I'm just going to drag that to about there, and it didn't for some reason take that one. Okay, and there it is there. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. Just highlight all of those, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to duplicate it by hitting the little note sign. Okay, so let's just click, and for some reason let's just do it individually because it's not seeming to want to play nice with me today. So I'm actually going to click onto that one, and I'm going to just delete that one, and I'm just going to shift all of them over by selecting all the layers, and I'm just going to go Control T, and I'm just going to make that slightly bit bigger, so, and then just move that in the center to about there and hit enter. There we go, that looks a bit better. Let's just drag you a little bit further up. All right, so I'm happy with that. Now let's start adding in our name and all the rest of it. Okay, so what you can do is, instead of having all of these layers sitting over here, what you can do is, so let's just highlight all the crown layers. So I've clicked onto that one, and then I'm going to hit the shift key and click onto that one, and it's highlighted all of those layers. And I'm just going to go over here to this little folder, and I'm just going to type in crowns. That way I know that that whole folder is crowns, and if I untick that, it hides the crowns. Okay, that way at least it kind of keeps my my Windows panel clean and more easier to follow. All right, so let's bring in let's add in our text. So I'm just going to create a new layer, and I'm going to go over here into the toolbar and click onto the type tool, or I just call it the text tool, and I'm just going to search for sketch, which is over here, block bold. Okay, so let's just click onto the canvas, and I am going to write in my daughter's name, which is Ellie, and there it is there. Let's just change that because sometimes okay, and I'm just going to make this about 125. Yeah, all right, let's click and drag you into the center, which would be about there. All right, so I'm happy with that. So what we can do now is change the colors of each letter. Okay, and I'm wanting to have the same colors that are in these crayons on my Ellie sign. Okay, so how do we do that? We have obviously selected the layer that we will be using, which is this one here. Go click onto our text tool, and all we're going to do now is, come on, click onto the text tool, there it is there. And I'm just going to highlight the E, and I'm going to go over here to the white box, which is the color of the font that's being used, and it's going to turn into like a target sign. And I'm just going to click here to this red. Now it's going to bring up obviously your color picker box too. All right, and then I'm just going to go over here, highlight you, and you are going to be an orange. Then I'm going to go over here and highlight you, and you're going to be my yellow. Hit OK, and you keep going until you are happy. It's that easy. There, 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 and last one, that one. Okay, let's add in the next layer, and the font we're going to be using is called Allura, which is this one here that you can download for free too, and I'm going to keep it to a white color. Okay, and I'm going to type in first day of, and I'm actually just going to highlight that, and I'm wanting to make that a bit bigger, so let's just make that to say, perfect. All right, so let's bring you about there. So Ellie's first day of, and I'm wanting to put a grade 1. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click onto my Ellie sign, and I'm just going to duplicate that layer. All right, and there it is there. I'm just going to hit the shift key so that it stays in the same lines and bring it down to about there. And I'm just going to change this to say grade 1. Okay, I'm then going to hit Control and T, and I'm just going to hit the shift key again, and I'm just going to make you a bit smaller. And let's just bring you into the center, drag you up a bit. Okay, and I'm not liking that color, so let's change that color, make sure it's on the layer, hit the text tool, and I'm just going to change that to maybe, let's say the blue. I think will look quite nice. Yeah, perfect. I'm liking that. Okay, what we can do is let's just move you a little bit further up and you a little bit further up. All right, and you can also use your arrow key. If you select the layer you want, you can use your arrow key to move it up and down or left or right. All right, but I'm happy with that. What I'm also going to do now quickly is add in my apple, which is there. All I've done is added the eyeball again, and I'm just going to hit Control T. No, let's do that again. Click either the clip art or the layer, hit Control T, and I'm just going to reduce that to about there. Now let's drag you to make it a little bit smaller. Yep, I'm happy with that. And I'm just going to duplicate that again, and the layers on top of there, and I'm just going to hit the shift key so that it stays in the same line, and I'm just going to drag that to about there. And I'm actually not liking, I want that leaf to be on the opposite side, so all I do is make sure you clicked onto the layer you're wanting to use, hit edit, transform, flip horizontally, and it's then going to flip it the other way. All right, now I am just going to go and click onto you, double click, there it is there, and I'm just going to hit my text tool, and I'm just going to change this to say 2019. I'm just going to highlight it again, sorry, and change the color to white. There it is. And then I'm just going to hit Control T. Oopsie. Let's just go back, click onto that. Control T, and I'm just going to reduce you and drag you up here. Okay, I might just make it a tiny bit smaller. And there we go. All right, so I'm happy with that. I'm then going to make sure that that layer is selected again. There it is there, 2019. And I am going to take you away, go over to the type tool because we want to change it. And I'm going to put in August. And I'm just going to hit the enter key. August the 16th. Okay, and let's just make that a bit smaller. Drag you up. Whoopsie. Drag you up here. Okay, probably needs to be a little bit smaller. There it is there. All right, and as you can see, it's kind of overlapping. All right, so how do we make a bit of a spacing for there? So all we need to do is make sure that it's highlighted. Go over here to our characters thing, our characters icon. If you don't have that, go to Windows and make sure that you've clicked, that you have ticked characters, okay? And then it will pop up over here in your Windows panel. All right, and then I'm just going to go over here to this one here. Okay, and I'm just going to put in, say, 36. It's probably a little bit too much. What about 30? Perfect. Okay, and let's just see how that looks. Let's just move it up. And okay, so let's start adding in a I am 6 years old. So I'm just going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to go over here to the type tool, and I'm going to just look for a font called Arial, which I believe is free in Photoshop, and I'm just going to go with the regular one. All right, I am going to maybe change the color to say this yellow color. And I'm just going to type in I am. Oops, it'd be good if I actually do I am. Okay, and I'm actually just going to reduce that size to say, let's just do 50 for now. Probably too small, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to hit Control T, and I'm just going to turn that right around to about there. I'm just going to change that to 0 so that it is exactly 90 degrees. And I'm just going to move you to about there. Now I'll change all of this, all the sizing in that later, or even maybe the colors, I'm not too sure. All right, so I'm just going to click on to this 2019, and I'm just going to duplicate that, and I'm just going to click and drag you here, and I'm going to change that to 6. Okay, but also while I'm there, I'm just going to make that the same color, and then I'm just going to hit Control T, and let's click and drag and make that bigger. Now let's bring you in there, make you slightly bit bigger. Okay, and then I'm just gonna once again click onto you, and I'm duplicating that layer again. I like to just duplicate, if it's the same font, I like to just duplicate it and then I just change it. Yes, and let's change that color to the yellow. Okay, and bring you about there, and I'm just going to duplicate that years underneath, and I'm just going to type it to say old. All right, there it is there. Now on this side here, I'm going to have my teacher is. So I'm just going to click on to I am, duplicate that because I'm going to use the same font, move it over there. All right, so now I'm just going to hit Control T, and I'm just going to turn that around to 90 degrees, and if you haven't got 90, just go over here and type in 90. There it is there. And I'm just going to, I'm just going to make that to say my teacher is. Okay, and I'm just going to make you over there. All right, and then I'm going to use this font here, and let's bring you. So if you haven't noticed, I like to just use the same techniques over and over again. All right, and that's what Photoshop all is. It's just using the same, almost the same buttons. All right, so it's not that overwhelming once you know which buttons you use. Okay, and I'm just going to make you a lot smaller to about there. All right, so I'm happy with you. Okay, and this is a new technique that I'm going to show you now. I haven't shown it to you yet in one of my tutorials, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to make the little dots that go across and downwards just to break it up a bit. Okay, now how do I do that? I'm going to make a new layer. I'm just going to go over here to my brushes icon. Once again, if you don't have it, look over here under Windows and click brushes. Okay, and there it is there. I'm going to click onto hard round. And I'm going to make sure, yeah, 31 sounds good, but my spacing is going to be further out to about there. Okay, and I'm just going to change the color to white. Okay, so all you need to do is just double click onto that and it will change the color. I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm going to click and hold until I'm happy to about there and let go. Alrighty, so that is how you make a dotted line. Now I'm going to do the same thing going down, but I'm actually going to do a new layer. Okay, and everything looks correct, and I'm just going to hit the shift key and I'm just going to click and go down. But what I'm wanting to do is make sure that this line is actually in the center from left to right. So how do I do that? Make sure that that layer is selected, go over here to my marquee tool, and there we go. That is now in the center. Control D for delta. And then I can now just shift everything around. So let's just make sure that you are a little bit further up to about there. I'm just going to take this layer, hit Control T, and I'm just going to make you a little bit smaller. But I might just make you a little bit higher to about there. Yeah, and hit enter. Okay, but the Mrs. Smith I'm quite happy with, so I'm just going to leave that there. And I'm just going to make you a little bit bigger. So it's just a matter of making everything big or small. All right, and 6. And my I am, just make it a little bit bigger too. Let's just move you further out to about there. So you need to now save your work. How are we going to save it? All you're going to do is go to File, Save As, find where you want to save it, okay, and then make sure that you've saved it as a PSD file first, all right, which is what we're going to do. I've already saved this, so I'll just save it again. Okay, now I also wanting to save mine as a PNG file. All right, so first thing I like to do is go to Layers, and I'm going to flatten all my images. So now you'll notice that all the layers have become one layer, so it almost shrinks the file. All right, so we're going to go File, and we're going to go Save As, find wherever you want to save it. I'm going to save it as a PNG file, which is that one there. I've already done this, so that's okay. There we go, and hit Replace All. All right, so I've now saved that as a PNG file. Now, I actually want to go back and make sure that I have resaved it as a PSD file. I'm doing more steps than I should, but I just like to always double check myself before I close it. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the previous layer in my history panel, in your history icon. If you don't have that, once again, Windows and under history. Okay, and I'm just going to click onto the previous action we did, which is this one here, and it's brought back all of my layers. And then I'm just going to go File, Save As, and make sure that it's a PSD file again, and save it. So what you could do is save it as a PNG file by shrinking it and merging all the layers, flattening all the layers, okay, and then saving it as a PSD file. It's up to you. The main thing is when you're saving it as a PSD file that all the layers are showing there, okay, because you can't bring them back once you've saved it as a PSD file and you've closed your work. Alrighty, so make sure that the layers are there. Now another little inside tip is make sure, if you see this little icon over here, this little asterisk, that tells you that your work has not been saved. So make sure that you do go ahead and save it. So you'll notice we did already save this one, so there's no little asterisk on there. That's how you can tell if your work hasn't been saved. So just a little inside tip. And that is how you make your first day of school sign in Photoshop. It is a lot more easier than it looks. I hope it does. And please feel free to ask me any questions. Please comment down below what your takeaway was from this video, if you enjoyed it, and if you have any ideas for me. I love getting ideas from you guys. You guys are my inspiration for making all these videos. So please feel free to let me know and subscribe to my channel. It's free to do so. I love making these videos, and the more subscribers I have, the more I know you guys are wanting to watch these videos. Alright, so until next week guys, have a wonderful week, and I will see you then. Bye.